and those who will be tuning in, I want to thank you in anticipation for your participation today. Today, my dear friends, I want to showcase a very handsome young man who has more or less multi-talented and very ambitious, and also because of Black History Month, a matter of fact, I think today happens to be the final day for our Black History celebration. We want to showcase this young man. His name is Stewart. And you will be hearing a lot about this young man who looks very simple, but he happens to be an extraordinary young man who I respected very much and I admired very much. And so, my dear friends, as we curtailing Black History celebration, because oftentimes we kind of shy away from acknowledging our young men, our young women. And so today I want this young man to tell you some things about his life. You will learn today how he navigates and manages all the skills and talents that he has on a day-to-day basis. And also, we're going to share a little regarding his romantic life. Remember, bear in mind, he is single. So if you are a female and you tune in today, you can look at him, you can listen to him, and when the dust gets settled, you might want to contact him if necessary. So with this being said, again, welcome, Lemur, to the podcast. And I would like to ask you first and foremost, if you would like to share with the audience, talk about your journey so far, from a software computer technician to entrepreneur.
Sure. So my name is Stewart, like he mentioned already. So I graduated back in 2009 as a computer engineer from Virginia Tech. And after that, I spent about a decade, I think, in the corporate world, building applications for various different government agencies and private companies. And throughout that time, I just learned a lot about web development, app development, and I always wanted to build my own company, try to build my own app and see how far I could take that. So in 2017, I started working on an app called GoodFind that you could see here in the corner. It's an app where we help food truck owners manage their business, similar to like DoorDash or Uber Eats, where they work with primarily restaurants. We work with food truck owners, help connect them with customers and help them take orders online, as well as orders at the point of sale. So started that in 2017, launched it in January 2018. So I've been doing it for about, roughly 4 years now. And going pretty well. We've been able to raise some money, a couple $1 million, to be able to build out the company some more, grow our team some. So it's been an interesting journey, figuring out how to navigate running a startup. And I think today my business has around 15 employees, about 9 to 10 are full-time and maybe 5 or so contractors. So things are moving along, and yeah, we're just looking to see how far we could take it. And
Oh, that's very proud of you. But let me ask you, let's reverse a little.
sure.
How about your software engineer? I think you are or you were a technician. Are you still have that business, or you give it up for this one?
Well, I was an employee as a software engineer, so I worked for two different companies for about 5 years each. And then I gave that up in January. When was that? It was before January 2019. So yeah, I gave it up to focus on GoodFind until we could raise enough money so GoodFind could pay me, which we were able to do last year. So now my business pays me, and I still operate my business as I'm the CTO, Chief Technology Officer. So I build all of our, or I started out building all of our technology. Now I have a couple other engineers on my team helping out as well. So I still same discipline, just doing it for myself.
Oh, very good. Excellent. So I must more or less want to recognize your parent. They must be very proud of you, very ambitious young man, as I alluded to the fact earlier. And I want to say kudos to both of them, because I realized that they more or less try to inculcate good values in your spirit. And I think so far as a young person, you have achieved a whole lot. So let's roll back to your business. Is this a franchise?
It's a startup. So we have a web application, mobile apps on Android and iOS. So we provide online and financial services for food truck owners, as well as we help them manage their operations, their day-to-day activities. So it's a fairly complex business. Food truck owners use us to find different places to pull up and serve their food. So they're mobile. They go to many different locations to try to serve their food. So we help partner with corporate offices, residential communities, and even individuals. If you want a food truck to come out for your wedding or something like that, we can help facilitate that, and also manage the payments for the entire process. So.
Okay, very good. I think, again, I just want to congratulate you on your great successes so far. And I just want to encourage you to go forth with speed, because the sky is the limit. There are lots of young men, as you know, in our communities who are not making good as it relates to their education, their skills, their talents, right? I personally believe that all of us were born with some degree of talents or gift or ability, so to speak. But in the process, some of us do not put our talents to action. And you have done that. So you need to be congratulated and to be respected as a young man in your community. And I really wish if there were many more young men like you, especially in my community where I'm living, where we find that the young brothers are just killing one another. I think they can more or less replace that energy to do something like what you're doing. And our community will be a better place for every one of us to live. And so, I'm not ashamed to say that it's pathetic what's happening in our communities every day. And I just pray and hope that some young people are listening to what you have to share today, so that will motivate them to do even the same thing that you're doing, or even similar things, to keep off from the road, to keep away from bad company and make themselves a man that society demands. Now, as a businessman myself, I know sometimes the struggles when you have employee working for you. Some of them just come around, they get the job, but their main focus is not to contemplate on the job and to help you grow your business, but they're just interested in more or less, receiving a paycheck, and some of them interested to know how much money you're making. And they go around the persons with the money bag and they ask all these funny questions because that's their motive. And to me, that's not good. I can tell you how many men that I fired for my business because that was their motives. So with this being said, I want to ask you more or less, how do you manage your employee? Do you more or less get along with all of them, or there's some issues from time to time?
We have some really great employees, so I enjoy all of our employees. So far, we haven't had really negative experiences like that. Everyone who pretty much has started with us is still here and contributing. So we try to make it a fair and fun work environment. Make sure everyone feels valued and everyone is able to contribute in the decision making in some ways, and everyone's fairly compensated, at least at our early stage here as a startup, and then everyone gets a little ownership in the company as well. So there's a little more value in. They see a little more value in their contribution. So I think all of that is important, and we try to. I think every business owner does this, but we try to vet our employees pretty well and help them understand what our mission is. And at our early stage, we have to move really fast. We're small. We're competing with much larger companies in some instances. So it requires a bit more effort sometimes on our end. So I think just the work environment and culture that we're developing is important. And so far, it's been going really well. I think everyone enjoys working with each other. The team gets along really well.
Well, that's good to hear, because when it comes to business, I think relationship is paramount or very important, because if you, as the business owner, are not getting along well with your employee, or most of them, they might want to try at least to sabotage your business or to see your business run down. But I think it's important for us to understand the impact that relationship has in every facet of life, in every organization, because that's the key, and unless we have good relationship with our employee or with our subordinate, things may not go the way it's supposed to go. And I think some of the things you said are more or less are keys to every successful businesses, because one of the things you said, your employee has a share in your company. So what that does for them, it helps them to identify themselves as a shareholder, as part of the business. So that would motivate them to work even much harder and to respect you as the owner and themselves as you guys grow this business by leap and bounds, so to speak. Now, do you have HR department in your business? And I'm asking you these things to glean from you how is it your business structure? Because some businesses, I know it has a CEO, it has a secretary, treasurer, HR, etc., etc. Can you talk about that a little for us?
Yeah, we don't have like formal HR yet. Hopefully soon we'll be getting to that point, but I guess that's part of what makes it pretty difficult in these early stages. We have to wear many more hats as the owners. So I have two other co-founders, and we lead the company together. So we have to wear many hats until we identify areas that are kind of becoming a problem or need some more attention. And as we get funding in or revenue, we hire people to fill those specific duties. So we try to balance based on the company's most important needs early on, who we hire first, and then we have a plan for the future as well as to what disciplines, what different types of employees that we're going to bring into the company to help ease some of the pressure off of us and continue pushing us forward. So it's it's not as much as a flat structure anymore. We have identified a few employees so far, 2 to 3 that are in leadership positions in the company as well. So they'll be leading their own teams as we grow out their teams as well. And then soon here, we'll have a need for that kind of in-house HR rep to manage all of our employees. But we did recently bring on a chief of staff, and she's been great. Actually started last week, and already has been great. And she pretty much serves at some of the HR duties. She fills some of the HR duties as well as many other things. So yeah, as we grow, we start to get better at those things and get more people in place to manage all that. So it's a process, long process.
That's right. I just want to say to my viewers and listeners, if you have a question for my guests, you can just let us know. Just go to chat and state your question, and I let him know so he can answer us accordingly. How about, do you have a secretary or a treasurer?
No, we don't. We have, early on, I would manage our budget and finances and things like that. And now we have a CFO that works kind of on a contract basis to help us manage our financials, our monthly reporting and all that good stuff. So we have investors now that we have to report to on a monthly basis. And then as well as just for us to understand where we are financially as a business, how much money we're burning, what our runway is, all that stuff is important. So no secretary, but we have people in place to help manage those type of things.
Based upon what you're telling me, it seems as though you have an awesome responsibility as it relates to, doing the checks and balances and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now that we have employees, but early on, the first few years where anyone who was working with us wasn't getting paid, including myself and my other co-founders, it was a little bit different. Now we have employees getting paid, and also they're dependent on this job for their daily living. So it's a added responsibility, more to keep me up at night. We have to make sure the company is moving forward. We have enough money in the bank, and we're raising money when money's getting low, to ensure that our employees continue to have a job and is able to, um, have the paycheck they need to sustain their lifestyle. So really important, lots of responsibility, keeps me up pretty much every night.
Okay, how about your brand for your company? Are you more or less trying to sustain it? What actually you're doing so that your company would be out there and more folks would know who you are and what you're doing?
So we have social media profiles, which we're not currently managing as well as we should, but we try to post about what we're doing ongoing. It's been pretty busy the last year or so, so we haven't done as much of that. But and then we also get a little bit of PR. Some news sources write about us, so we've been featured in a couple different mediums. I think most recently, Forbes featured us like a few weeks ago, so that was a big one. And our CEO is a woman, so it was Forbes Women feature also, so huge for her, and she's been doing a great job. So it's good to get that exposure and get some more eyes on the business. And then other than that, we try to keep our customers informed and we try to keep up our customer service. So that's probably the biggest part of our business and the biggest differentiator of our larger competitors. We pay attention to our customers. I go visit them regularly, as well as other members of the team. Make sure we're servicing them the way they need to be serviced, and make sure we're always learning about their needs, because those can change over time as well. And that helps us make sure the business is focusing on the right things as well. So customer service, that helps our customers spread the word about us via word of mouth. So it's kind of free advertising there. And then we do some advertising and social media management of our own.
Very good. So let me ask you, are you planning to expand your business, in other states? Let it resemble like a little McDonald's?
Yeah, for sure. That's going to be important. We're not going to be successful if we can't operate in any state that has food trucks. So
okay.
I'm in Virginia, so we started in the DMV area, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So that's where most of our business is currently. But in the past few months, we did start expansion into a few other states. Try to get in some warmer climates, as well as some other huge food truck metro areas. So yeah, we're expanding now, and bringing in additional funds to help that expansion as well. So yeah, eventually, the goal is to be in all 50 states and even outside of the United States. So food trucks are big in Canada as well as some other countries as well. So it's an online platform. We don't have there's nothing preventing us from working with any food truck anywhere that finds value in our platform. So that is the goal.
It's very good. I'm glad you talk a little about finance, because the truth is, as a young entrepreneur, moral and financial support, I think, it's essentially important so as to expand and to build as you go along, so you can employ even more individuals. The question that I want to ask you, are you getting the support in either area, moral or financial? And if your answer is yes, who are those persons that are supporting you?
Okay, you say either moral or financial?
Yeah, and both.
Yeah, I think early on, It's kind of a struggle for Black founders or minority founders in general. So early on, I would say we were more heavy on the moral support versus financial support. We had to do a lot to prove out the business. So to start it out, I saved my own money. To take it back after I graduated from school, I was like in probably like around $125,000 in debt, roughly. And that was back in 2009. So I decided to map out like a 3-year plan to pay off all that debt. So back at the end of 2013, I was able to pay the last payment on one of my loans. So at that point, I haven't had any debt since 2013.
That's
So
good.
that was a big step. And then after I paid off all my debt, I took a couple more years and try to save up as much money as I can so that I would be able to focus on building my business. At that time, I didn't know it would be good fun. I didn't know what the business would be. I just knew I wanted to do something. So I saved up a bunch of money. And then in 2019, January, I quit my job. So I went about 2 years without a paycheck to help build this. And then at the end, so I guess after I quit my job in January, that summer, we got our first like financial support. So we got into a startup accelerator in Richmond, Virginia, and they gave us $20,000 in like non-diluted funding. So that means we didn't have to give up any ownership in our company or anything. They just gave us $20,000 pretty much for free. And then they supported us for 3 months. We had to live in Richmond for the entire summer. And they supported us in getting things in place legally and whatnot to help get our business off the ground. And 20K might not sound like that much to run a business, and we couldn't pay ourselves from that or anything, but there were like legal fees and little things like that, software we could buy, things to help push the business along. And then in 2020, the start of, I think it was in February, we started to kind of pivot our business, change the focus of our business a little bit. And that was like a couple weeks before the pandemic hit. So when the pandemic started, we were worried that, it would kind of shut down our business. A lot changed. So we had to change the way we operate and the way we help food trucks out. Their business was suffering as well. So we had to figure out a good way how to help support them. And we decided that we would shift our focus to partnering with like residential communities, since everyone was stuck at home now. We would call up like apartment communities and homeowners associations and pitch them on the idea of having food trucks come out to their community on a weekly basis, or whatever cadence they wanted. And then they would promote to the residents that, Good Find is bringing a food truck out, and their residents could use our ordering system to place their orders to those food trucks. So that's how we started making money, really at the very start of the pandemic. We never made money before that, actually. And then that just started ballooning, like the revenue we was bringing in was growing month after month. Like I think we started in March, we probably did like maybe $2,500 worth in transactions, and then the next month it jumped to like 15,000, and then the month after that like 55,000, and then it just started increasing and increasing. So at the end of that year is when we were able to get investors interested and raise the first money for our business. So January 2021, we closed like a $1.8 million funding round. So we was able to bring in almost a couple $1 million in financing to help hire pretty much all the employees we have now, and just improve our services overall. So that's kind of been our funding journey, and yeah. we're working on doing the same again now to accelerate what we're doing even more. So we've had a bit of success, especially for minority founders. We raised like, I don't know, it's probably like less than 3%, maybe even less than that of capital in the United States. So that was big for us. And so we appreciate our investors and any investors that will come in the future. But yeah, so that gave us the opportunity to continue what we're doing and you know, hopefully take this mission even further.
Very good. So let me ask you a question. Can I get a loan?
If you want to start a food truck in the future, we might be able to help you with that.
Okay. So regarding the investors, what percentage they receive when they invest in your business?
So technically, no one has ownership in our business right now outside of us. They will. So our funding was raised on, and this gets pretty complicated, so I won't get too deep into it, but we raised our funding on what's called convertible note. So it's like, it's really debt that eventually can turn into ownership for the investors, you know, if we do what we're supposed to do. So we're looking to, after this year is a big year for us with proving out our operations and scaling the business some, and then after that is when we'll be looking to have like a true value on the company, and at that point we'll give up some ownership. So technically the ownership we've given up is like on hold until we raise some future funding rounds. So.
Okay. Looking back a few years ago, just before you started your business, and where you are now, are you really surprised that you're looking actually like a miracle happen? Were you anticipating where you are now that you would have been today? Or you had some doubts?
Oh yeah, I mean, I used to tell our team this all the time. I used to study like startup life because I wanted to do this. So before I even started this, like as soon as I graduated from college in 2009, I Googled like the history of like some big apps that everyone is used to using, like you know, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, different apps like that, Uber Eats, Grubhub, and kind of got a good understanding of what their journey was, what the process for them was. So I knew how hard it was going to be, what we were trying to do. But I'm not surprised. I always had confidence, probably too much sometimes. I don't believe anything I set out to do, I don't believe I'm going to fail at. I see success at the end always for myself. So, but you know, throughout the journey, I think it's natural for most founders. Doubts can creep in. It's an up and down journey. Everything is not always smooth, but you know, still always have confidence, and even till now, we still have much more to do, and nothing is guaranteed for us by any stretch. But you know, I still believe in what we're doing, and that especially when it comes to the industry we're working in, that we're going to be the best provider for our customers compared to our competitors. So I don't have any doubts about that at all.
Very good. You know, just listening to you, I think you have your head on and you're a focused young man. And I am so glad that you've taken this step, because, you know, someone says, if you have to take 1 million steps, you have to take the first step, right? And that first step sometimes determine if you will go forward or continue, or if you will reverse. And so I'm really glad to know that you've decided to take that first step. And you ended up in a place that, according to you, you were not sure if you would have ended up there. So I will say to you, just continue pushing on, continue staying focused, continue examine your friends, because sometimes the friendship or the people that you associate yourselves with, they can make you or they can break you. So I am just praying that, again, you will continue to move this business and you would be able to expand it as much as you possibly can or allowed to. And by doing that, you might be able to employ much, much more young people. Let me ask you this question, since I'm talking about employee. Most of your employees are young people, old people. What are averagely they are young or old?
They're young, I would say. I guess everyone might have their own definition of young, but myself, I'm 36 years young. So I'm probably the second or third oldest in the company.
Okay. Well, I have an idea. You literally employ young people, and that's good. I do hope that what you're doing will motivate them and inspire them someday to own their own business. So, let's kind of move on to the next segment, and let me cut to the chase, because I'm aware of the fact that you are a single man. I know you're not married, but the question that I want to ask you, are you dating currently?
Dating? No, not really.
You're not?
No, I'm not really dating.
Why?
I guess I'm heavily focused in what I'm doing. It pretty much takes over my life. So it's probably hard to find someone who would put up with that.
Listen, young man, you can walk and chew gum at the same time, and what it takes, one area you might want to consider is time management, because I understand clearly what you're saying, because if you started to date someone, they might need your attention, but at the same time, dating someone like you, they would understand, listen, this man would not be so grossly involved in his business all the time. There comes a time when he more or less tied the knot, he might be able to find more time for me. All you will need to do, my friend, is to sit down and explain this to that person, because you have to look at it from this perspective. Not that you're married, you are dating. And dating does not mean that you marry this person. Dating simply means you are trying to find someone that you think can be ultimately your future wife. That's what dating means in its simplest term. So you can date 2 persons at a time, 3 persons at a time, etc. Because not like you're attached to them. And I know for a fact that in our society today, most young people, not all, I dare paint all of them with a broad brush. Most of them have this understanding. Listen, when I date this woman, I own her. No, that's wrong and that's bad. And their ideologies need to be changed. It's dangerous. So you, as an intelligent young man, a businessman with all these skills and ability, I know for a fact every single woman would have that opportunity to gravitate to you. You, to me, is like a magnet where your opposite sex are concerned. And I can understand why you are not dating. Listen, too much work and no play make Lamar a dull boy.
I am dull. That might be another problem.
Well, you're not Jack. The statement says, too much play and too much work and no play make Jack's a dull boy. But at the same time, with all honesty, I am really, really surprised the answer you gave me. Probably you want to keep it as a secret. You don't want anyone to know you're not dating. I don't know. But
no secrets from me.
I cannot believe that.
Anyway, there's a lot of work. If it was easy as chewing gum, I would be able to do it and walk at the same time.
Anyway, listen. Since you're not dating, what are 3 qualities you, Lamar, are looking for in a relationship?
3 qualities?
Yes, 3 qualities.
That's interesting. See, if I could pull off the top of my head, I guess I would say respect to start, support. I don't know. I feel like those are the two biggest things. A third one, I don't know. That's hard for me. I don't really have any specifics. I feel like there's multiple different configurations for like a good relationship. But I think at the top, as long as respect and support is there, some of the other things are interchangeable.
Well, that's true. Respect is good because I believe every man needs their fiancé, their date, their wives to respect them. That's a big thing for every man that I know of, everyone, right? Because when a woman disrespects a man, he becomes hyper, right? He becomes angry, becomes, very, very annoyed. So I know that from a fact. And I think the next one, as a young man, you have to look for too, when I talk about quality, that individual needs to be trustworthy, because trust is somewhat missing from so many relationships. And if you're dating someone and you cannot trust her, that's a no-no, vice versa, because most young people think that, listen, even though I'm dating this man, I can, be dishonest to him. And as I said, I alluded to the fact when it comes to dating, is just to get to know that person more or better, to see if you guys are compatible, right, in most of the areas. Because if you're not, one would be east and one would be west. And that by itself is a non-starter for any relationship. You've got to see some degree of compatibility before you can commit yourself and say, you know what, we will roll down this way and we will continue this relationship. But are you looking for like a professional woman? Because I heard you mention one of the qualities has to do with support. So she has to be professional?
No, that doesn't matter to me.
It doesn't matter. What about international?
What do you mean?
Well, someone that's outside of the United States of America. Would you date someone outside of the United States of America in another country?
Yeah, Jamaica.
Huh?
Yeah, Jamaica.
Any country?
I mean, maybe. I don't really put any restrictions that way, but I might say I prefer someone international.
Or let me rephrase the question. Would you
You mean long distance or just someone
long
who's from
distance
other
the
country?
same as being out of the country?
No, I'm probably not into that.
You're not?
No, probably not.
You prefer to date someone in the United States of America?
Yeah, not necessarily a deal breaker, but I probably prefer to not go down that road.
Why? You want to share? Because you never know who is looking, to this podcast, and after it's been posted, who would be looking at it, and depending on what you're saying here, they might be interested. I might be receiving calls or texts or emails about this young man. So why
I'm not opposed to it. It's just probably not something I would seek out personally.
is that a fair? Are you afraid of doing that?
Long distance?
Yeah.
I just think it's more complicated. Not necessarily afraid of, well, I'm probably afraid of relationships in general.
Listen, man.
I don't like to be, when I say that, I mean, I don't like to be in too many relationships. So like to deal with one person and have it go the distance. So that probably holds me back some.
Well, that's it. Every person has their own taste and the reasoning, etc. But my relationship with my wife prior to marriage was long distance. And thanks be to God, I'm proud to say that for 35 long years, we were happily married. Okay? Not because it happens to me, that means it would happen to you or someone else. But who knows? And that's the reason why I more or less inserted trust in one of the three qualities. You understand? And trust does not happen overnight. Okay? You cannot just see a person date her and say, I trust her, man, she would not do that, she would not say that, etc. You've got to develop that, you've got to build trust, so to speak. And so there are lots of young men just like you. They would dare not to date a woman from overseas or internationally, I guess, because of the same trust problem. But again, to each his own. You have to know what your heart is saying and where it's leading you. Do you think, since you says you're not dating, do you think that you are prepared for a relationship?
Oh, yeah.
You are? You are?
I think so.
All right. There's some areas that I love to talk about when I talk about preparation in relationship, because I believe every person who are dating should use preparation as a marker for a successful relationship. As a matter of fact, when you think about it, everything that we in pursuit of, it calls for some degree of preparation. Would you say that?
Yep, for sure.
Right. So in this instance, as it relates to relationship and preparation, you might be very well be prepared financially. But what about your mental preparation? What about your psychological preparation? What about your spiritual preparation? Are you prepared in those other areas? Because when we talk about relationship, we're talking about someone who's ready. If things should develop, they would want to talk about engagement and, marriage ultimately. So looking at things as they are right now, are you prepared mentally, psychologically, spiritually for a relationship?
Yeah, I think I've always been.
Oh, you always been. Oh, very good, very well. Talking about spiritual preparation, what is your concept when it comes to God?
In term, let's see. I don't know. I kind of just take the approach to life where I just focus on being the best person I can and treating everyone respectfully, respecting everyone. So in terms of, I don't have like a direct relationship with like any church or anything like that. Hasn't been a big part of my life, but I think I follow those. Principles more or less in my personal life.
So you're not a member of a local church?
No.
And you have no intention, or this is something that you're thinking about in the future?
No real intention. It's not something that I really think about like that.
Because the reason why I'm asking you that, we're still talking about relationship. So if you were to see someone that will more or less causes your heart to go fonder, beat faster, right? But she happens to be a Christian, that would be a non-starter for you.
For me, a non-starter?
Yeah.
No. I wouldn't say that.
Well, I am just assuming that. I might be so wrong because I'm talking to you regarding God, regarding church, and etc. And it seems as though you're a little, I would not say against, but you're not sure where you want to go and what you want to do. Because I tell you what, as a young man, you are at advantage to find yourself the best, most intelligent, professional, classy, sexy, ambitious woman that's out there right now. You believe that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
But some of the things that you might not be looking for, those same women might possess of, and that might prevent them from, challenging you. They might be intimidated because, I don't know. And I'm saying this to say that there's so many nice, beautiful Christian women out there, and also women that are not Christian. And I'm wondering if you would like me to hook you up with one.
No, I don't know about the hooking up. I feel like that doesn't usually go well for men in my experience.
That's a joke. Don't take it seriously. But seriously speaking, I'm most surprised that currently dating. But again, apparently this is where your head is, and who knows better than you? No one, right? You know exactly precisely what you're looking for as it relates to relationship. And some men, so women might look at themselves and say, wow, I'm 34, I'm 35, I'm 36, I'm 40 years old, and nobody is coming around. but sometimes it's the other way around. You are not going around and you're not initiating because you are not ready. And that's quite okay. I would not see you as a funny man. But again, you know, when it comes to your focus, when it comes to what you're looking for, only you know that. And, I have nothing against you or nothing against that. Okay. But I do hope in the near future, you may probably start dating and invite me to your wedding. I would love to be a part of that.
Oh yeah, maybe someone will come around and show that they want to be part of my life. I'm not opposed to it.
Okay. Probably someone might be listening to you, so don't be surprised if they hit you up and say, listen, man, Amira, I was on the show and I listened carefully and now I'm available. You're single. I'm single. Let's hit it off, and take it from there. Nevertheless, our time is almost up. So the final question I want to ask you, young man, what would be your encouragement to the young people that might be looking, that might be listening to you today? But at the same time, they've been struggling to put their hands on the pulse of their life as it relates to business and relationship. Talk to them as we close.
I think for me, life is all about like perspective. So the way how I'm able to like continue my pursuit of everything I'm doing, I look at like what my parents did, other family members like yourself, and Auntie Hilret, and everyone else. So my parents came here to the United States from Jamaica, similar to you guys and many others in our family, with pretty much nothing, right? And had to build up a new life here in a new country. And so I just look at that sacrifice. For one, I can't imagine any of us, anyone I grew up with in my age range, doing something like that. And I could imagine how challenging that is. So, and then I think there's a reason why we were brought here as well, for the opportunity and everything this country has to offer. Some good, some bad. But there's a lot of good. So that's how I'm able to keep up my journey. I'm as hard as it is doing what I'm trying to do. I think it was just as hard for my parents and you guys to do what you all did by bringing us to this country and starting over. So keeping that in perspective, I think it's important that we're continuing to like push that barrier and take advantage of all the opportunities we have, and make sure we're in a much better position than you guys were when you brought us here. So just showing, I guess, the kids coming after us as well, what's possible here, and also making opportunities for them. So that's my whole goal, is to, make everyone that had a hand in bringing us here feel like it was worth it. And, I'm doing everything I can to take advantage. So I think if everyone in their own life just, looks around at, I guess, what their elders were doing, and use that to add some perspective into their own life. That's how I'm able to keep things going. And then just being driven, having goals. I plan everything out, like paying off my loans, starting this business. None of it came on a whim. It was all planned. So I think that's the one of the keys to life is having a goal and planning for it, and following that plan as best as you can. And I feel like I'm always gonna be successful if I do that. So that's what I hope everyone else can see, and then I hope everyone can kind of see what I'm doing and maybe take some inspiration from what I'm doing and apply that to their own life.
Very good. I think in essence, what you're saying to the audience, if you can do it, they can do it too. Okay? Because there's nothing impossible if we believe. We have to first believe in ourselves and prioritize our life. And yes, life is tough, life is hard, it's a struggle for all of us. But if they put their feet to the mill, their hands to the mill, they will make it too. So again, Demar, I really thank you for coming on my podcast today. And I do hope that what you've shared today would add some value to our audience. And if they were to understand you clearly and follow your vision, they can end up being the best version of themselves. So again, I thank you. And for all of you who came on this podcast, I want to thank you for coming on and to listen to my guest. If you may have a question or two, or you want to be in contact with him, you can more or less send me an email, Pastor Lloyd Slowe at yahoo.com, Pastor Lloyd Slowe at yahoo.com. And I want to ask you to go YouTube at the Reshaping Lives Ministries and subscribe to my podcast, and go to Facebook and like this podcast. So until then, I really want to thank you again, Demar, and thank God for you and your family and your friends and your business. I wish you well, and I wish you prosperity as you endeavor to do the best you can. So keep it up, and may God bless you. Thanks again.